The men's 4x100 meters relay at the Athletics World Cup in London was not simply a sprint, it was a high-speed chess match played across 4 exchanges, where every meter, every step, and every fraction of timing carried decisive weight. What made this race exceptional was not just the final result, but the way different relay philosophies collided. Precision versus power, control versus risk, structure versus instinct. From the gun, the first leg immediately revealed each team's strategic identity. Poland in lane 1 ran a disciplined opening, prioritizing control over aggression, a necessary approach given the tighter visual constraints of the inside lanes. Jamaica in lane 2 executed a more assertive start, emphasizing early acceleration to position themselves before the first exchange. Meanwhile, Great Britain and South Africa, placed centrally, aimed to maximize visibility and rhythm, knowing that clean sightlines often translate into smoother baton transitions. The United States, running out in lane 8, faced a unique challenge. Without direct visual reference to the rest of the field, their race had to be internally calibrated. Jeff Demps on the opening leg handled this responsibility well. His start was composed rather than explosive, but critically he maintained form and posture, ensuring that the baton entered the first exchange zone under control rather than chaos. In relay racing, this is often underestimated. A slightly slower but stable first leg can preserve the entire structure of the race. The first exchange across the field was relatively clean, but Germany immediately distinguished themselves. Their outgoing runner timed the acceleration phase almost perfectly, meeting the incoming athlete at optimal velocity. This is where Germany gained their early advantage, not through raw speed, but through synchronization. Their baton never appeared to decelerate, which is the hallmark of elite relay execution. On the American side, Kendall Williams received the baton safely, but the exchange lacked the same aggressive efficiency. The outgoing speed was slightly conservative, creating a minor loss of momentum. However, this was a calculated decision. At this level, teams often face a critical trade-off: maximize speed in the exchange or minimize risk. The U.S. clearly chose the latter, avoiding the kind of marginal timing errors that have historically plagued them in major championships. As the race transitioned into the third leg, the importance of curve running became evident. Cameron Burrell carried the baton for the U.S. through the bend, a leg that demands not only speed, but spatial awareness and balance. Running the curve efficiently requires subtle adjustments in stride length and body lean, and Burrell executed this phase with composure, maintaining contact with the leading teams despite the earlier conservative exchange. Germany, however, continued to impress. Their third runner attacked the bend aggressively, maintaining high turnover while preserving control. At this stage, they looked like the most complete team on the track. Their rhythm uninterrupted, their baton exchanges nearly flawless. This is the point in the race where many relays are effectively decided, and Germany appeared to be building a winning position. Jamaica, as expected, remained within striking distance. Their relay structure leaned more toward raw sprinting ability, relying on strong individual legs to compensate for slightly less refined exchanges. This approach kept them competitive, particularly as the race approached the final handoff. The anchor leg is where the relay transforms from a team event into an individual confrontation. When Noah Lyles received the baton for the United States, he did so slightly behind the leaders, a position that demands not only physical speed but tactical intelligence. Running in lane 8, Lyles had to rely entirely on peripheral awareness and internal pacing, as direct visual comparison was limited. His acceleration phase was decisive. Rather than an immediate all-out sprint, Lyles built his speed progressively over the first 40 meters, allowing him to reach maximal velocity at precisely the right moment. This is a key detail. Many anchors lose races by peaking too early. Lyles, by contrast, timed his drive phase to perfection. Inside him, Jamaica's anchor launched an aggressive pursuit, attempting to capitalize on the slight deficit of the U.S. Their approach was more direct, rapid acceleration and early top speed, but it came at a cost. As the final 30 meters approached, Lyles's superior speed endurance began to show. Germany, despite entering the straight in a leading position, could not match this final phase intensity. Their earlier efficiency had given them an advantage, but without an anchor capable of matching the absolute top-end speed of Lyle's or Jamaica's finisher, they began to fade slightly in the closing meters. The final 50 meters distilled the race into its purest form. Two athletes, maximal velocity, and no margin for error. Lyle's stride remained fluid and controlled, while Jamaica's challenge, though powerful, began to plateau. The difference was subtle but decisive, a marginally higher top speed combined with better maintenance under fatigue. The United States crossed the line in 38.42 seconds, securing victory by approximately 1 meter. In sprint terms, that margin, roughly 1/10 of a second, is both minimal and definitive. It represents the difference between perfect execution and near-perfect execution. Beyond the result, the race highlighted several key truths about the 4x100 meters relay. First, baton exchanges are not just technical elements, they are strategic decisions. The U.S. sacrificed a fraction of speed in their second exchange to ensure security, and that stability allowed their anchor to operate without disruption. Second, rhythm across all four legs matters more than isolated brilliance. Germany demonstrated the value of synchronization, but their inability to match the final leg speed of their rivals ultimately limited their result. Third, the anchor leg remains the ultimate equalizer. Even a small deficit can be overturned by an athlete capable of combining acceleration, top speed, and composure under pressure. Lyle's exemplified this perfectly, delivering a controlled yet devastating finish. Finally, the compressed nature of the field, with all 8 teams finishing within half a second, underscores just how fine the margins are at this level. There are no weak links, no easy victories. Every exchange, every stride, every decision contributes to the final outcome. This race was not about breaking records. The legendary 36.84 set by Jamaica at the London 2012 Olympics remained far out of reach, but it did not need to be. What it delivered instead was clarity, a demonstration of how elite relay teams balance risk and control, and how, in the end, execution under pressure defines champions. In races like this, the smallest hesitation can undo even the strongest lineup. What ultimately separated the United States was not absolute dominance in every phase, but consistency across all 4 legs and the absence of mistakes. Each runner fulfilled their role without overreaching, preserving rhythm and control from start to finish. Their exchanges, while not the fastest, were stable enough to keep them within striking distance. That discipline created the platform for Noah Lyles to execute a perfectly timed anchor leg where speed met composure. At this level, races are rarely won by perfection alone. They are won by teams that minimize risk, maximize efficiency, and deliver in the decisive final seconds.